look, you was ready to.
Yeah, I was in it. I was like, yeah.
Either you was really excited, you were about to make a point, or somebody finna get choked. Welcome to Faith and Fire Podcast. A podcast is all about celebrating God's wisdom, insight, revelation, hope, and love, one conversation at a time. I am your host, Ken Bishop, and as always, you see the fella. He right here with me, Charles C.G. Godey. What is happening, my guy?
What's up, baby?
Man, listen, CG is over here looking good, y'all. I ain't gonna give you a full body shot. This is a family show. but my man's is over here looking good, and I'm grateful for it, because one of the things that we talked about before in the past is just our health. You know what I mean? And for real, we want to bring big man sexy back.
Yeah,
you know, ain't nothing wrong with wanting to bring big man sexy back. The other part is like so we can feel good in our own skin. It's not that we don't have high self-esteem. We have, we got good self-esteem. But we always know we also know how society looks at big folk.
Right. Well, and it's that, and then it's just good health, right?
Good health, man.
Good health, high self-esteem or good self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right, has nothing to do with my cholesterol levels.
That part.
Blood pressure levels and all that.
Yeah, because you can have high self-esteem and high cholesterol.
Yeah, right. And that's not going to help.
Dead.
So. Right.
No bueno.
You're so confident.
My man him speak with so much confidence. Dead. Like, nah, buddy. Nah, we can't have that. So, we're getting it in, y'all. We're getting it in. So, interestingly enough, this month being February, and I've told you guys time and time again, we are. And I told y'all how I feel about it. For real, I think it is absolutely, personally, I think it's ridiculous that we relegate the celebration of love, really deep thought, or just conceptualizing new ways or whatever with regards to love for February. And then we really, for real, commercially, societally, we only celebrate, the acts of love and so forth and so on Valentine's Day. One day out of 365, it's that one where we actually do something. So I'm not going to get in my soapbox about it, but this is what I will say. I've shared this before. The only way you can steer a ship is from the inside, right? You don't steer from the outside. If you're anything that's opposing a ship's path on the outside, you're an iceberg, right? And there's about to be a Titanic situation. We don't want to sink the ship. We need to steer the ship. And so that's what we're doing. In this month of February, we are kicking off our relationship series. It is going to be massively dope. We are so excited about what God is going to be dropping. And this is the first installment of our relationship series. All right, so we are jumping into our relationship series within this month of February. We're going to try to get these episodes out to you quickly. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. You'll also see the episodes posted on Facebook on my page. I'll share those out. CG will post them as well, so you will get a chance to see what's going on. So we're going to try to get these out to you rapid fire, because we got a lot of nuggets we want to drop. So as we open up this particular topic, what do you know, or what do you understand about communication, CG?
Oh, so let me tell you what I've learned about communication. I think I had a relationship one time, and communication was easy, and it flowed. And we had great communication. We could talk about some of the difficult things.
Right.
There was still a challenge when it came to some real personal stuff,
right.
but for the most part, communication was easy. And I walked away from that knowing, and we talked about confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah.
Fully knowing full well that I was a good communicator.
Gotcha.
Going to the next relationship, and communication is not so easy.
Ooh.
And I made the mistake of just assuming, because I'm a good communicator, because I just communicated well with X person over
Not
here.
long ago. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't communicate well with you.
Yeah.
So therefore, right. You're the problem, not me. I'm the good.
You got the issue.
Right. And so no. Right. I can communicate. One, communication takes work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Communication is also on the speaker, right?
Yes.
It is on. It's their responsibility to get the message over.
Bruh,
That's something else that I
Come
learned.
on, Doc.
And then two, just because I can communicate well in another situation does not mean that I can communicate well with you.
Man, pause for me, CG, because what you're about to do is go right into what we are going to be talking about. So because he said that, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to share with you what the actual premise of this episode is, and then we'll keep going.
Okay.
So the premise of this episode is the art of being bilingual.
Okay.
The art of being bilingual. It's very, very easy to talk to one person or one type of person because you got that language down. You know that.
Right.
But once you got to go and talk to somebody else who speaks a little bit differently or a completely different language, how do you handle that? But go ahead and finish, man. Boy.
But that's it. I mean, it is. And then there's love languages and there's all these other type of things. But learning to communicate. We're talking about communication, right?
Yes.
I've got to speak a proper. The languages are is in English, right?
Yeah. Right.
Is it? And then what's my body language? And then what's my verbal tone? And then what's, you know what I'm saying? And
dude, because English, you would think that English is universal by this point, right? You would think that English is understood the world around. It's not.
Right.
English is identified the world around, but not necessarily understood. But body language is truly universal.
And the statistic on it is something like body language, while it is truly universal, it is the majority of communication. Let me
Yes. Man, come on, hit him with it. Hit him with it, CG.
I'm in Mexico a couple years ago. I wanted the experience of being in Mexico and feeling like what it was like to be abroad and kind of work abroad. So I'm in Mexico for 3 weeks.
Ooh.
We're talking about communication. I'm in this co-working space. And I'm working into that, and I see this lady. She comes in. She waves at me every morning. She waves at the end of the day when she leaves, right? And so, I noticed this after a couple of days. She's cute. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening. She's cute. Okay. And so, she doesn't wave at anybody else when she leaves. Right? I'm in Mexico. I know no Spanish. I know hola, right? Hola. You know what I'm saying? She looks at me.
My guy knows hi.
You know what I'm saying?
Hi. Hello.
So it's hola, and she gives me hola back. There's a smile.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? At this point, now this is like probably maybe like day 2, day 3.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting a smile. I'm getting the, I'm getting all of that. Now we haven't said but hola, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. But I'm picking up a vibe. I'm like, I think she, you know what I'm saying? So now I don't know how to speak Spanish a lick. I got a little bit of Duolingo in me. You know what I'm saying? But that's going to help me make a table reservation for 2.
That's it.
Which I might need in a minute.
I'm
not there yet. So I end up going ahead and I get on the little translator app, write down, figure out, hey, I'm introduce myself, write it out and hand her the little note. Man. She smiles. We exchange WhatsApp information. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. International. You know what I'm talking about? Don't matter what kind of phone you got.
Right. So short of the long, I end up going to meeting her and some friends for dinner at this spot. Now, her friends actually spoke more English than she did. So
okay.
I'm actually haven't been able to communicate with the friend group, you know what I'm saying, more than I can with her.
Yeah.
But it's all in, we really can't speak the language, but we're communicating. It's in body language, I can tell, you know, and all that. I'm like, man, she's feeling me.
Sidebar. Do you not know that the fact that her friend group was able to communicate with you as well as they were, that was a sign and a signal to her just how well, you know what I mean, or how compatible or how good this can go because they're feeling you. Like if they weren't,
right,
it would have been raps,
right.
It would have been raps. You cancel it, cuz.
Right.
You would have got Miyamo and that was it.
Right.
You do know what that means, right?
No.
Okay. Miyamo is my name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Miyamo Charles.
Oh, okay. You see, I don't know.
It's all good. I got you.
I
got
you. Far into the lingo like But
wait, you know who else is hilarious when it comes down to languages?
What?
Lady B.
Okay.
Bruh, I love talking to her about foreign languages, bro. It is hilarious. I love it.
What I mean?
I love it. Lady B in the booth. As always, you know what? That should have been one of the first things I did. My bad, babe. I saw my baby's in the booth. Thank you, honey. I love you. Yeah, she said she loved me, y'all. Y'all ain't hear that, but she said it. Even if she didn't, I'm telling you she said it because y'all can't hear her anyway. We're good.
But what was just interesting about that evening and about you know, we ended up going out, you know, again and stuff like that. But what was interesting about those times was most of the communication, because the verbal communication just could not be there, right? So it was just, but you could tell somebody I had full attention, you know what I'm saying? And it was amazing. So
question, can you treat it like your senses? Can we treat communication, receiving, sending, like our senses, right? So if you're deaf, right, then your eyesight is going to be better, right? Or your sense of touch is going to be better, right? So those that have lost certain senses, there is an increase in the other one, right? So if you're blind, your hearing increases, right? Exactly. You are like freaking, you know what I mean? What my man, Daredevil, you feel me? Right. So is it that sort of thing because the actual verbal communication wasn't there, that it seemed like everything else, all the other ways we communicate, that was heightened?
Absolutely. I think, you know, all of that, because you paid more attention to, like I'm still, when I think back about it, I'm drinking, they had Takata and Dos Equis.
You know that? You know them words.
I knew them, right. And so she was like, you know, she pointed to the beer, do I want to, you know, and I was like, see, I know that. You know what I'm saying? I got that, right? You know?
Cerveza, by the way.
Oh, so, okay.
Cerveza, that's beer, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So she opens up the bottle and hands me a bottle. I get to the end of the bottle.
Yeah.
She opens up another bottle and hands me a bottle, right? And she just leans over. There's a leg touch. You know what I'm saying? There's a head on the shoulder. You know what I'm saying? There's all these. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even talk to this chick. You know what I'm saying?
But you are getting
I'm getting all kind of information. You know what I'm saying? And so, I know we were way off topic.
No, it's not because
okay.
Here's the thing: when we're talking, because again we're talking about relationships and the art of being bilingual. In order for you to be bilingual, there has to be another language for you to learn. But here's the thing: if we're not with somebody who is willing to share that information with us, right? That becomes difficult, then you're at a major disadvantage, right? But then what if they just don't know, right? Because we can't necessarily put it in a malicious light. So, you know, understanding that just because, we shouldn't look at the inability of someone to express how they communicate with you as a malicious act.
Right.
It could be they don't know how to share that with you.
Correct.
But either way, you're stuck in, especially in those types of instances, what you'll end up having is you got to lean into your spidey senses, right? You got to lean into the unspoken. You got to lean into the body language because you haven't really learned their verbal language yet.
Man, I had a good friend of mine, relationship mentor. I used to work for him. Used to be a boss of mine. Shout out to Wayne. I'm married, and I'm frustrated in communication.
Yeah.
And he says, you gotta understand, she doesn't know how to communicate. She's never been married before. Okay, well, neither have I, and I can communicate better. Right, but he was like, but watch this. Her growing up as a kid, she told her dad what she wanted, and it happened. He was like, if she said something and it was with her parents' means and it was, reasonable, it showed up.
Wow.
So she comes to you.
Yeah.
Husband, you replacing dad.
Yeah. Where are you at?
I don't like this, or I like this, or it should just show up. Like she's never had to develop communication skills really beyond that.
Wow.
We've never really had to dive into the why of some things, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like,
because it was just done.
It was just done.
Bro, you know what's bananas, man? There is, with regards to communication, obviously there's levels, and there's we were at one community church, and shout out to the one community, and the pastor that was preaching that day, he was actually talking about communication from the standpoint of diving.
Okay.
Right? And he was saying, so you could go and snorkel in a conversation. But you're not, because snorkeling, you can only do so much. You got the little tube, you know what I mean? And you got to stay pretty much right on the surface. You can see in the water, you got your face in there, but you haven't really gone down in there, because if you do that, you're going to get water in your tube, problem, right?
Right.
But if you want to go deeper, you got to change your equipment.
Right. To have a deeper conversation.
And
it's only so much deep you can go without getting different equipment, because there's more pressure.
Exactly. So even if you go and put on some scuba gear, you still ain't diving deep until you get the next level up from that scuba gear for you to, bro. I'm telling you. And so we're gonna have to dive into that. But here's the thing. So Faith and Fire podcast, right? Again, a podcast is all about sharing God's wisdom, insight, revelation, hope, and love, one conversation at a time. As we continue to discuss this, right? As we continue to discuss being bilingual, as we continue to dive into our first episode in our relationship series, here's what we need you to do. If this content is blessing you in any way, if it's encouraging you in any way, if it is uplifting you in any way, or if you just think, yo, somebody needs to hear this, please like, subscribe, share. That's what you could do for us, right? That's how you support us, by putting this content out there, letting folks know what's going down. Again, the avenues and the means of being able to see this content, you're going to see that. It'll be in the video, it'll be in the links that we share, so forth and so on. But that's what we ask. That's your charge as our fire starter, because once you come here once, you are now a fire starter. So as our fire starters, that's what you could do. You're going to keep lighting more fires and more fires and more fires with this content and what you get from this content. That's what I want more than anything. Share with people what you got from it.
Feedback is huge.
That's what we need. We need you to say, you know what, I heard this, and this is how I felt about it, and this is what I'm thinking, and let's chop it up, because that's our goal. Our goal is to make sure that we are inspiring the hearts and the minds of people to think and then to act, right? So here's the thing. We're going to keep kicking through this, and I got a couple of little nuggets that I want to insert right here before we finish.
All right.
The first one is from Stephen R. I think it's Covey. Is it Covey? Covey. Yeah, Stephen R. Covey. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Can I tell you that one right there is a tough one.
Well,
it's a tough one.
Seek first to understand. The first thing that came to mind was, and all thy getting,
get understanding. That's what the words say. And you ain't lying about it. But here's what I say. I would venture to say that I have uncanny understanding. I've said it because I believe it, and I try to make sure in every given moment I am walking out that perspective, that narrative, that way of doing things. So I feel like I have an uncanny level of understanding. I can understand pretty much anything. Now, Do I tolerate just about anything?
Right.
But I can understand just about anything, regardless of what the position is, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I get it. I can understand. But the thing is, though, where sometimes I end up not necessarily my gotcha is because I understand so well. I want to be understood. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So when I'm sharing and it seems like somebody isn't getting it, and we just talk about body language, you can kind of look at somebody and I say, you don't get a word I'm saying right now. I am speaking Chinese, right? Spanish. Oh my God. And so this particular quote can sometimes be a gotcha for me, but this is how we should navigate. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
No, I agree with that. I love that. I love Mr. Covey. Love all the stuff that they done. Yeah, I think when I've got to seek to understand, mm-hmm. that means I've got to listen.
You gotta listen. And
I can't understand if I'm assuming what you mean.
Ooh, that part.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think you mean this, right? Mm-hmm. I've got to really ask what you mean and listen to your response, not the preconceived notion, not the story that I tell myself. You know what I'm saying? Not and I get that from the book Crucial Conversations. Fantastic read. And it's something that you should read multiple times.
Crucial Conversations.
Conversations.
We're going to be sure to put that on the screen for y'all.
It's the stories that we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves you're late because you just don't care about time being on time, which is not important, right? Wow. Or you know what I'm saying? And so I think that, right? Or I will draw the wrong conclusion because I've connected the dots myself. But I may have done that because I had a lack of information and I just had to connect the dots, right? And come up with something. And
you fooled around and connected the wrong dots.
I drew the wrong conclusion. Right? And so but I've got to stop making those assumptions. And just ask. Yeah. And ask with an open mind. Really ask to see what it is that you say. Because sometimes we ask questions. It's like when how you doing? You ain't even looking for, that's just you ain't even looking for the
You don't
answer.
even want to know.
You really don't want to know. Exactly.
Bro, I'm glad you brought that up, man. Oh, my man's is in there today, boy. I'm telling you, sure you don't play an instrument? Because I'm telling you in the pocket like a drummer. Listen to me, dog. Don't have or ask a question if you're going to do nothing with the answer. David Goldstein. Don't have or ask a question if you're going to do nothing with the answer. Come on, bro.
Man, okay, so just so everybody knows, these are totally unscripted.
Absolutely.
Right? These are totally unscripted.
Absolutely.
Many a times I do not know the subject until today was one. We're setting up and I'm like, what's the topic? What are we talking about today? And yeah, so okay, that was awesome. I literally just walked into that.
Walked right into that
that's
joint.
Awesome. Okay,
but that's why, that's why our tag, our mantra, kind of how we do business and what I share with you guys every time we start this. That's why it is what it is. This is literally me and CG having a conversation, and we are just hoping and praying that the Holy Spirit drops in here and God pulls up a chair and then nuggets get dropped. And every time that's what happens, man. That's what happens. So yeah, this ain't scripted. The only thing is that God inspires us to, decide to move in a certain direction and that sort of thing, which we're really excited about, and that's where we find ourselves here. But yeah, man. So here's the thing. I got a few notes that I want to share. Because obviously I didn't memorize any of this or anything like that, it being very unscripted, let me share a few thoughts with you. Let's see. Do not leave.
1, 2, 3, and
2. Okay, so here's a nugget that I think we can try to unpack a little bit. So obviously, as we talked about with communication, there are stages to this thing. There are ways of going about it. There are different elements, facets, factors, so forth and so on, that are completely encompassed within communication in a whole. It is such a very broad subject matter. It is such a very broad aspect of our lives, and it embodies a great deal. But as we're talking about relationships, right? And more importantly, since, month February, you feel me? Let's talk about romantic relationships, right? There are 5 things that we want to do when we're communicating. 5 things. Number 1, listen, obviously, right? Number 2, which is where sometimes we have a tough part as men. Sometimes men have a tough time doing this one. Acknowledge. So you got to listen, then you have to acknowledge. And then one of the third things that we sometimes have an issue with, I'm not saying that I'm not like, hey guys, we suck. Like, no, it's just because we're logical thinkers and we're logical communicators mainly, right? So, but number 1, listen. Number 2, acknowledge. And here's the thing. Number 3 and 4 actually go hand in hand. Validate and clarify. You got to validate and you got to clarify. So I'm listening. I've acknowledged what I've heard. I'm going to validate what I've heard, and I'm going to clarify what I've heard, right? And then the last step, number 5, which is where men usually start, is handle.
Right.
Right? Action. You know what I mean? Like, I am a fixer by nature. I cannot help it. I'm a problem solver, and I'm going to keep it a whole buck with y'all. I'm a problem solver for everybody else's problems. I'm going to keep it a whole stack. And I have a tough time sometimes, or I used to have a tough time, turning that inward and dealing with my own. But it was easier for me to help others with what they had going on because I'm on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've got a better point of view.
Man, my vantage point is insane.
And you don't have the emotional attachment that you do in your own situation.
Well, here's what's crazy though. Here's what's crazy about me, man. I actually do.
Okay.
And that's why I want to.
Okay.
Because there is a, and I'll say pseudo, depending on the type of relationship or the type of interaction, there is an emotional attachment. And so then I want to go all in. Like that's just the counselor in me. You know what I'm saying? But me needing to handle things, me needing to fix things, I'm going to say again, as we look at romantic relationships, that is something that I had to learn ASAP with Lady B.
Yeah.
ASAP. Don't go in, handle.
Well, because you can go in with not all the information. So I love the steps there, and the steps are very similar to a workshop that I went to called Safe Conversations.
Safe Conversations.
Safe Conversations.
Shee.
And Safe Conversations is put on by, I think you can Google, I think it's safeconversations.com.
Yeah.
They have workshops. Harville and Helen Hendricks.
Okay.
They are 2 Dallas-based counselors, therapists.
Yeah.
Phenomenal people.
Man.
Absolutely phenomenal. So anyway, okay. First thing is when you sit down with
yeah.
B says, hey, I want to talk.
Yeah.
First thing B says is now a good time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good time to talk.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, we got stuff on our mind. We ready to talk. They not ready to receive, right? And then,
but I'm ready to talk.
Right. Okay, so yes, it's a good time, right? So we do that. She then shares her concern.
Yeah.
You say, okay, I hear you. The next thing you say is there more? Because what I have learned.
That is good, dude.
Just
that
between-
is
just-
good.
just
That
between me
is
and you.
good.
What I have
Is
learned.
there more?
What I have learned in communicating with the opposite sex,
Dude.
they will give you something, and it's the tip of the iceberg, true. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't the whole thing.
Is there more?
Is there more?
And y'all, I'm looking at Lady B right now in the booth. I'm looking at her in the booth. She can't say nothing. I mean, well, not audibly so that y'all can hear it. So, yeah, is there more? Wait a minute.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Hold that thought. Here's the thing. Because I do ask, if we're having a conversation and I feel, right, or I feel like I've perceived that there is more, I'll say, are you sure? Or I'll kind of stop, kind of give breath. And then I go, oh, babe, are you sure? But what's really going on, right? And the thing is, of course, I want to know because I want to help. But I also want her to be heard. But there's that, again, that fifth part, that wanting to handle inside of me. Listen.
Right.
Listen. That is a fireman with the truck, suited and booted, hoses dripping, like we ready to put something out.
Right.
So you need to tell me so I can go into action.
Right. Except what you need to know, right, is that it's not just the fire that you see, that you also, there's more stuff so that you can handle the situation in its entirety, because what we will do is, I don't like when, and I can't come up with something. Oh my gosh, I need a,
he's stepping on my toes and I don't like it.
You know what I'm saying?
But I love you though.
Okay, here's something I used to get in trouble for. I don't like when you leave your shoes on the floor, right? Okay,
hush, babe.
I have a shoe problem. Okay, pray for me. I have a shoe problem. Okay, so,
one would say no.
I collect Chuck Taylors, and I have 50 some odd pair right now.
Can we? Boop.
Oh yeah. There we go.
With the chuckers on them.
It
ain't a game. It ain't a game. I'm surprised he only got 50.
Yeah, I got 50 some pair.
Oh, 50 something. Okay, I forgot the something part on there.
Yeah, maybe 6 or 7 pair on the floor, 2 in the car. Yeah. Okay, so it's a thing, right? So I don't like when So she would say to me, I don't like when you leave your shoes on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I go handle that, right? I'll just remember, pick up my shoes on the floor. If I stop and ask, is there more? Right? The more that you will get is, it makes me feel like you don't care about the energy and the effort that I put into keeping the house clean. It makes me feel like you don't value that, or like I've come home and worked a full day and I've had to pick up shoes behind an adult,
a grown ninja,
right? That says that he's grown in every other aspect and mature in every other aspect, but can't pick up his shoes, right? And so when you then get to kind of hear how that makes the other person feel,
I don't like him.
Right?
I love him, but I don't like him.
It resonates differently with you.
It really does.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's more than shoes on the floor. Like, it really is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it is simple as it is. Because at first it's like, why? Who is shoes on the floor?
Who cares? Slide them over.
Walk around them. I mean, but it is a bigger deal, right? But you miss that without the, is there more?
And the thing is, what I try to make sure that I am not is dismissive. Actually, few things.
Right.
Number one, I don't ever want to be dismissive to my wife. And I never want to be flippant. Right. And I also want to make sure that I'm validating, but not validating facetiously, right? Or passive aggressively, right? So there are times when, if I recognize that I done something, like I'll tell you what, there's this little thing that I do, and it's a part of my logical thinking, and I can't help it. But I try to make sure that I help it because it drives my wife crazy. We have a little hook on our dishwasher.
Okay.
Is
that why I hear her laughing through the soundproof?
Yes.
Okay, the booth is soundproof, and I can still hear her laughing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because it's real. Okay. It's real. So we got a little hook, a little magnetic hook that's on the dishwasher door, right? And we have a towel, a hand towel. It's an older towel, but it hangs right there, right? So then when we wash the dishes or whatever, boom, it's right there, kind of out of the way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but the towel has a hole in it where it'd been ripped before.
Okay.
It just so happens that the little hole is right at the spot where if I could put right on the hook.
Okay.
And it's just it hangs nicely. Just you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a nice little dangle.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, what's
the problem?
It's there. It's not on the counter. It's not on the floor. It's on the hook.
Right.
And there's a few times she's like, babe, quit doing that with the towel. And I'm like, oh, my bad, babe. I apologize. And I'll fix it. But then again, my mind, right? I'm just thinking, oh, whole hook. Done and done. She'll see it again. Babe, will you stop putting the dag on? And I'm like, oh, dang, my bad, babe. I'll fix it. Then one time I was like, babe, why? Like, it's a hole for the hook. She's like, nah, that's not what it's for. You're going to mess around and you're going to tear it more. And then the towel ain't going to be useful anymore. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're right. All right, babe. And so now I catch myself. If I go to do it, because it's muscle memory, habit, whatever, right? I'll just go and I'm like, let me turn it around and put it there, right? One day I forgot recently, and she threatened me. She said, I'm going to throw it away, and you ain't going to have it no more. I said, hey, man, hold on. I ain't never thought I'd be so attached to a towel in my life. Like, wait a minute. No, you ain't finna throw this away. And I must confess, the emotional response to this instance is because what that was telling me from her was that you just don't get it. And so now I just got to cut it off. You don't get it, so you ain't gonna get it.
Right.
You don't get it now. You haven't gotten it. We've tried. And so I'm just gonna cut it off. None and done. Don't even worry about it. And that's dismissive, which is something that I don't want to do because I don't like when people do it to me.
Right.
And so then I'm just like, oh crap. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go through that introspective moment with myself and be like, okay, this is what's really going on. This is how you really feel about it. I will say this. We had some things going on at the crib and, new home, praise God for it. But, we've been in there under a year and there's some settling going on, whatever. And so we got some things happening in the house, right? Any homeowners, y'all know it happens. It settles, it cracks, whatever. And so we called out the building management, whatever, for the builder. And he came and did some inspections and whatnot. And he's looking around and he's seeing what's going on. And I'm like just super grateful for that. But one of the things that he was saying when he was walking around, he was like, man, most homes I go into, like these families, this is their house. Like it looks like it's lived in. Like I never expected to walk in to like a museum. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay then. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Like you're walking around like this space is sacred. This is stuff is nice and it's, you know what I mean? Hey. And at first I'm like, well, dang, like I don't want you to feel like, you can't navigate the house. But on the flip side, I'm like, babe, thank you. Thank you for the work you put in to make sure our house is always spotless, always, you know what I mean?
It's showroom ready.
You know what I mean? And keeping me on track.
No. So real talk on that. And I had the same experience when I built my house and when I was married. My wife was particular, like, we're just going to keep it clean, and then, because you never know when somebody's going to pop up.
You just don't.
But I was like, shoot, we in a gated community. They can't pop up.
You feel me?
They got to
better call.
Code. Right. They got to call.
Somebody.
But I had a similar situation where we needed to call the builder back out.
Yeah.
And the builder came, the guy who's responsible for overseeing the whole build project, he came over, brought the salesman with him. Mr. Cody, y'all's house is amazing. Do y'all mind? Because we love the changes that y'all made to the floor plan.
Yeah.
I want to be able to, like, I want to show people.
Yeah.
Potential. Like, this is what you can do. Right?
That's dope. That's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
dope.
and it was just, and I was like, okay, maybe I should pick my shoes up off the floor. Right? Like, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, that works. Like, I can, okay. All right, I'm saying.
Bruh. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And it's those moments when we men, we have to tap in. We have to tap in. Because it shouldn't take that.
Right.
Honestly, it shouldn't take for somebody else to come in and be like, yo, Your place is mad clean, is mad dope. I barely want to sit down, you know what I mean, for you to realize that the cleanliness that someone, and the effort, I should say, that someone puts forward is worth it.
Right.
It shouldn't take that to see it. And I'm just like, we got to do better. We got to really do better with how we recognize those things, because her word, you know what I mean, babe telling me, hey, come on, babe, let's make sure we got the, you know what I'm talking about. Now, please don't get me wrong. It ain't like I'm a slob or pig or anything like that. I can be very particular myself.
I just have shoes. It's only shoes.
Yeah. My thing is, my stuff has a home, and sometimes it get lost.
The GPS was out.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it ain't got the directions to get back to where it supposed to
stayed out that night.
It did. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And it just couldn't make it. Yeah. It couldn't make it. Now, but the thing is, you know what I mean? Sheriff. You feel me?
Don't care about that.
Hey, Sheriff come through on us, boy. And she told me one day, she said, hey, that's okay. It's just gonna disappear. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, babe, you bet, girl, you bet not. But hey, come on now. In this level of relationship, covenant marriage, us being submissive to one another. I can't be like, you better not. And no, because we both have to live by the rules that we set forth together.
Right.
And if those rules get broken, then there are consequences to those rules being broken together. And I'm going to tell you what, I done learned, and I'm good. And she still love me, and I'm still the head of my household. That, you know what I mean? We ain't talking about none of that. No. But it is keeping order.
Right. It's keeping order. And then there are things, right? There are, you know, they have the gender-based roles, right? But then when we can move beyond that and just say, okay, look, you know what? You're better at finances, right? Mm-hmm. So you're in charge of the finances. Mm-hmm. You take lead in that area. And then you're better at managing a house, right?
Yep.
So you take lead in that area. I'm telling you right now, for me, she has to take, she's in managing the house, right? That's just what her, so I've got to submit to that.
Saying.
And if that's her thing, and then I don't submit, it's like when your boss says, hey, Charles, you're the lead on this project, and you start leading the project, and then they just took it over. Like, why? You just took my legs out from under me. Why did you give me this responsibility, and then you don't give me the power and authority, you know what I'm saying, to execute on this?
There's a problem. And here's the thing. Let's take it biblical real quick. Looking at that narrative, you got Abraham and Sarah. Abraham was given a promise. Sarah was given the same promise, right? Because it was for both of them to walk out. Mm-hmm. But circumstances, situation, interesting communication issues, right? Things of that nature happened. Attentional blindness happened. And Sarah decided to kind of circumvent the process. And next thing you know, Sarah's like, here, you take Hagar, my maidservant, because you have to have an heir, and I want an heir. And since she's my servant, this is how things worked then, right? Mm-hmm. If she's my servant, she has a child. That child is mine because she's mine, right? That's what it is. But, and instead of Abram being like, girl, no, like God told us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He listened to his wife. Because of that alone, right? That we are submissive to one another, and running the household, running the camp. She handled that. Running the factory, mm-hmm. Obviously she handled that. And so boss of the factory says, listen, I need you to, get with this worker to get done what needs to get done. And you, okay, all right, let's do it. Not realizing that, it's the owner that we should have been listening to the whole time.
Right. I think in that situation, it's just, Abraham not going back to God. God, is this you?
I'm saying we got the right to ask.
Right. And,
we got the right to ask.
We got the right to ask, right? And so as she's the manager of that,
of the baby factory,
factory, right? Mm-hmm. So she can come up with the suggestions, right? Yeah. But for us, as the leader, it's that's that. We've got to have the accountability and the final say.
Right.
No, I don't think that's God. I know that you're in charge of this, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? No. But on something major like that.
Yeah.
on keeping my shoes up off the floor,
yeah,
we don't have to go to God for that.
no.
Go
to some common sense.
I could just
go to some common sense.
Right.
And so here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up because yes, there are levels to this thing, right? But one thing that you can go to God about is if this is.
I would go to God about it. Now let me pray about picking my shoes up.
Bruh. You ain't gonna tell her, man. Don't tell her I'm gonna go to God about it first. Well, you liable to go see Jesus ASAP. No,
she gonna send me.
You going to go see him. If you don't know him, you better know him.
I wish I
as your personal Lord.
I wish I would say I'm about to try that one time.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. No.
Okay,
but you can, right? If you're feeling like, again, talking about communication, what you're feeling and seeing versus what you're hearing, right? And if it feels like, yo, this seems like this is a much bigger deal than what it should be, then yeah, you go to God and be like, okay, now yes, I know, cleanliness, okay, I should pick it up, right? But why is she so bent out of shape about this?
Right.
What's there? What could there be that I don't know about?
Right.
Man, listen, we have so many more things that we would like to drop on y'all. This is Faith and Fire Podcast. A podcast is all about celebrating God's wisdom, insight, revelation, hope, and love. One conversation at a time. I'm your guy, Ken Bishop. I got my boy with me, Charles C.G. Godey. And here's the thing. What we're going to do, CG, I really feel like it'd be beneficial for us to go ahead and do a part 2.
I'm down.
We're going to do a part 2, and we're going to keep talking about the art of being bilingual, and where we're leaving off right now. Shoot, man, it almost sounds like being trilingual.
You
know what I mean?
Because
God got to go in. He got
you got to be able. You got God that you got to speak to. You got and you got to be able to hear the Holy Spirit. You got to be able to speak to yourself. You got to be able to talk to your spouse, and then your kids speak a different language.
Well, you just need to be a linguist. So you don't just need to be bilingual. You need to be a linguist. Because a linguist is how many? What, more than 3? I think. Yeah. You don't speak Spanish.
Right.
I'm just playing. Listen, we love you guys, and we seriously mean that because God called us to love everyone. And so again, we just ask that you would like, subscribe, share this out. Do something with what you've heard. The last 2 nuggets is kind of where we hit in our middle point. Number 1, seek to understand, then to be understood. That is from Stephen R. Covey. Thank you. Sorry, Stephen. And number 2, don't have or ask a question if you're going to do nothing with the answer. David Goldstein.
Number 3, is there more? Oh my gosh, that is so dope. That's so dope.
Yeah. It's not accusatory. It's not passive aggressive unless you say it like that. But
right in that tone. But is there more? And when you're genuine, that's what gets that takes you from scuba conversations,
bruh, to deep sea on.
That's how you get from snorkeling to scuba right
there. Man, listen, we can't even give y'all no more. Y'all need to check out part 2 because it's coming at you right away.